working for Kayali and then moved to Killian. And at the time I was working at Killian, there was all these kids coming to the store and buying Angel Share, and I didn't really understand where they were coming from. I wasn't on Fragrance Talk, I wasn't watching fragrance content. I was doing makeup at the time. And I kind of went and watched it and couldn't see myself reflected back in what I was watching or my, I guess, experience. So I started vlogging, working at Killian, and then eventually moving out of that and doing influencing for fragrance as an industry-led perspective and a lifestyle perspective. So yeah.
Amazing. And Anna.
Hi, I'm Amna.
PhD pending as well, I was going to say.
So I think I started my fragrance journey like really weirdly. I wanted to do dentistry. I didn't get into dentistry, so I ended up going into chemistry. And I realised that chemistry and fragrance like overlap so much. Like the entirety of fragrance is practically chemistry. And then as soon as I started to make that link, I fell in love even more with fragrance. And I think that was around 2018. And then I just started posting on TikTok. I was like, who cares? Like, who's gonna watch this? But then it just like spiraled. I started writing, and then yeah, now my life is literally fragrance. So I'm doing a PhD in it. So.
Amazing. Eudora.
My name is Eudora, and my fragrance journey started at Tom Ford. So I was working as a beauty and fragrance specialist. But prior to that, not that I didn't have any knowledge about fragrances because my parents love fragrances, but I wasn't like into posting about fragrances. But after I left, I was so curious. Working for Tom Ford sparked my curiosity. So I would watch a load of YouTube videos, read books, and attend workshops as well. And then after I had fast forward to 2020, I had just finished my master's and I had a lot of free time. So I decided to reached out to the Fragrance Foundation UK to inquire about doing the online training. So after I completed it, passed with honours, and I decided to then start posting about content because I wanted to be taken seriously. I wanted to come from a genuine place, and I just wanted to share my knowledge and my experience with fragrances.
Amazing. I think we'll talk a lot about being genuine online and that authenticity in our conversation. And Jimmy's very proudly wearing his online training badge. Sayo, over to you.
Right, so I'm Sayo. Those who know me on Instagram and TikTok know me as Mr. Scent Indulgence. I indulge in scents, I love fragrances, and that's why I sort of got into social media. So for myself, prior to 2024, I had never been on TikTok. I knew nothing about it. And Instagram was 2024 summer, the first time I actually posted. And the posting was because I wanted to understand a lot more about fragrance and the industry and something that I loved. And I thought, what better way to come to understand and see all aspects of an industry that you love so much than actually being an influencer? It's something that's helped me see brand owners and see their life and what motivates them, to be perfumers and what motivates them, to see consumers and see everyone in every aspect of the industry. So for me personally, if it wasn't for scents, I wouldn't go social media.
I think it's that curiosity, right?
Yeah.
Of wanting to know more. Anastasia.
Hi all, my name is Anastasia, scent guide on Instagram. So I was casually living my life. I had a small lifestyle blog, and then pandemic happened, and I was looking for the way to, unwind and bring a little bit more joy in my life. So instead of just purchasing one fragrance per year as I usually did before, I ordered a Killian sample set actually. And I remember I was like holding it in my hands, and I was sitting on the bench in the park, and I started to smell them, and I'm like, oh wow, I need more of this in my life. And I started ordering a lot of sample sets from like different brands that I never heard before, and I'm like, wow, I was blown away by all this, power of scent basically, and I felt this urgent need to share it with people. And that's how I started my blog on Instagram. I didn't have many fragrances at that time, so I was just creating some visuals and posting about scents. And just with 2 or 3 bottles and a bunch of sample sets, but I was really into it at the time. So yeah, and now I'm actually transitioning from just being, a blogger and influencer to being more of a educator and a part of a bigger community because I just started my own scent club, and I'm trying to gather more perfume lovers and more people to tell them about my passion and to learn about their passion and fragrances. And yeah,
Amazing. I think that's what sometimes people don't realise is that the work that you do is very much educating. You know, you're a resource for a lot of the time for people to understand the industry, and that's what can be really powerful as well. Jimmy, over to you.
Hi everyone, Jimmy. My journey in terms of content probably started at quite a young age. So I come from a family of academics, so I started writing in terms of poetry from the age of 13. And then I got in front of a camera around 16. It initially started just being silly on Snapchat. I mean, I'm showing videos to the people and traveling, going to shop floors and screaming my head off until I got kicked out. And it was just being an idiot and young and immature. And then it then transitioned to doing YouTube with a group of friends at university. And we were doing quite well, but then we graduated. I think we had about 55K subscribers as a group, and it was really fun. It was exciting, but I graduated and I had to focus on career. So I took quite a long, extensive break from content in general. But I always wanted to get back into it, and I always wanted to talk about something that I was passionate about. That is either going to be fragrances or sports. And I'd helped out with a football podcast once upon a time, which is horrible work. The only thing that made sense was just talk about fragrances, because anytime friends came around, family came around, I would always want to show off something that was new in my collection, talk about why I loved it so much, and then it was always a case of, why don't you just get in front of a camera and essentially romanticize fragrances, because they always draw an emotion. So I try to review from a stance of not what it smells like, but the emotion it kind of conjures up and where it takes me to, whether it's memory, feeling, things of that nature. So yeah.
Amazing, thank you. We're going to jump in then talking a bit more about your process, a bit more about the power of fragrance, what people are doing right, what people are doing wrong. So I'm going to start with you, Caleb. For you as a creator, are there specific formats that you lean towards in terms of capturing an audience's interest, and why do you think those work?
I think short form for me is the most impactful, just because it's immediately understood and it's quick and it's effective. And I think fragrance needs to do that online. It's probably the hardest form of beauty online because people can't experience it through a screen. They can see makeup, they can see clothes, but they can't smell through a screen. So I think short form for me is the most impactful.
Absolutely. Dora, same for you.
I would say same, but I
Yeah.
think long form content is also just as important because that's when it gets into deeper. So you can talk about the history about the sense, the notes, the construction. So I'll just say short form sparks curiosity, but long form content deepens.
I love that. Anastasia, you were talking about your kind of genuine passion and that authenticity. For a fragrance space and you're working with brands, as I'm sure all of you have great relationships with brands, what does authenticity look like? Or how do you appreciate that when you're posting or working with a brand?
Well, for me, authenticity is a particular way of storytelling that's been done in a very personal way. And I think that no one really wants to look at soulless videos of someone just repeating the notes or pyramid of the fragrance or just blindly following the trends. Because for me, authenticity in the space environment, in the perfume environment is all about telling a bit of your life story and how scents and fragrances influenced you in one or another way. And it's very important to look at this personality in content and videos, photos. Here we have a bunch of people who are not just, talking about fragrances, but they all have very interesting stories behind. We have Caleb with his story, like from the shop floor to being a perfume icon. We have Amna, who's very into details, and it's what's beautiful about this authenticity, because people want to know not just about the fragrances but about you guys, about me. So it's very important to bring a bit of your soul and yourself to all the content you're doing. And for the brands, I think it's also quite essential to connect not just with the content creator but with the person as well.
Absolutely. It's all about relationships in whatever capacity, through the screen, with the brand. So for you, how do you find that authenticity within yourself and also your relationships that you're building?
And I'm glad that you asked that question, because believe it or not, when you receive a fragrance for free from a brand or a paid collaboration, you'll know it smells different. I'm not
Really?
joking. You smell it different because it's like going out and going to an expensive restaurant and it's paid for by your favorite celebrity. You love it. It brings up this feeling inside you. You love it and you enjoy it. So it's very important as a content creator to know that, okay, this is free. Let me be objective when I speak about this fragrance. Let me not just make them happy as a brand because they gave me a fragrance or because I'm enjoying that moment. Let me be objective and tell people that are watching me want the truth. But also it shows up in different aspects. So, for example, I would say once you start posting something in the content creator space, stick to what you're doing. Do not change based on what you think people might want you to do, but actually believe in yourself and carry on doing what you're doing. So people, they can see your page, and the first time they see your page, they expect and they see what they expect to see. For example, on my page, everyone will see me posting luxury niche fragrances, something I love. You would never come to my page and see a post where I say, don't buy this £500 niche fragrance, buy this £20 cheap instead. That's not something I'm ever going to post. And that, I think, being authentic, it's all about that. People recognizing your page for what it is and what you're going to do, and not changing your values because you want more PR or you want more money or you want to work with a certain brand. Be yourself and let people know what you're about.
Yeah, amazing. That's so well put. And for you say you entered the space with genuine love. I mean, you all did, so that's got to translate somehow. Onto a tricky one, I guess. Jimmy, I'm going to ask you. Are viral fragrances overhyped, or are they shaping consumer tastes?
I think it's almost like a double-edged sword, so both can be true, and both are true.
Yeah.
I myself, and probably most people in this room, discover fragrances based on hype. I think right now one fragrance that's clearly taken over the market is Anello from Panellists, because we're going into that spring/summer fragrance, but it's not the first in its DNA. So a lot of people are discovering it because they never heard about it before, and rightfully so. It's a great fragrance, but I think where the juxtaposition comes in is kind of that the niche brands sometimes are very luxury and very small, so they might not be able to keep up with the demands of that request or that hype all of a sudden. So it's a bit of a tricky one sometimes. It's trying to find that balance of what works.
And does that affect the way you post?
100%. I think we have kind of like an unwritten, I don't want to call it a law, but a job to do in the way we review it. It says that while we're reviewing those fragrances that are still up and coming, we still obviously have to put it alongside well-established brands as well, and also make it known to people that while this is a very great fragrance, you just have to be mindful that it comes in small quantities, so manage your expectations and things of that nature.
Absolutely. And if it's a hyped brand that's been talked about a lot, you might find that you're kind of up against competition within the fragrance creator space as well. And Anna, then, the idea of people following a trend or following a hype, do we feel that we're losing the idea of smelling unique? Is that getting lost?
Well, there's this theory from, I think it's economics, and it's called the invisible hand. And it's basically everyone acts in their like best self-interests, and it benefits society as a whole. So people buy fragrance because they want to smell good. They buy that fragrance. The fragrance companies benefit from that because they're getting profit. So they therefore then release more fragrances that consumers like. So if consumers like a really specific profile, say for example we've seen gourmands, then they're going to release gourmands because their profits are high. So I feel like we've seen examples of this, and we are, in some aspect, there is like that uniqueness lost, because the same profiles can be recycled constantly, and it's this thing like the tragedy of the commons, like everyone loses that uniqueness. But I do feel like in one respect, because of the viral fragrances, people are going and exploring more niche houses as a result of that, because if people are talking about like viral houses, like, I don't know, let's say Born to Stand Out, so many other consumers have found out even more niche fragrances from that brand, or niche brands in general. So it's, as Jimmy was saying, I do feel like it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess for all of you, is there a thing of being too honest online when you're reviewing something? Jimmy, what do you think?
I don't think being too honest is the problem. I think it's more how you deliver it.
Right.
Because there's one thing to say that a fragrance is objectively bad, and there's another thing to be more on the lines of this fragrance is a fragrance, but it just doesn't work for me or my skin type or my body composition in that sense. So it's really just about how you deliver your honesty in that sense, because it can be quite damaging to a brand. Because perfumery in general is not. So while you might not like every painting that you see, you can still appreciate the effort that goes into it. So that's the way I feel.
Does anybody else have anything to add on to that? Has there ever been a post where you feel like, oh, that might have been too honest, maybe I shouldn't have, or have you feel like because you're yourself that it comes across
I
as
think
your
you can still be honest, but don't be disrespectful, because at the end of the day, you're critiquing someone's work. They put a lot of time and effort into creating that thing. So you can be honest, but just nicely.
Yeah. Everyone should be nice, shouldn't they, really? And you know, this is what it's about. We're all about being in this space. It's all about positivity, and I think it's really great that you know, it's so great to kind of get behind the scenes and see you approach it in a way that's, you know, true and valuing it for the art form that it is. So that's really nice to see. Caleb, from your perspective, what makes a brand partnership, and you've kind of been on the shop floor side of things, working with brands, what makes it a partnership with those feel genuine versus forced? You know, have you had experiences where somebody's approached you and gone, oh,
Yes.
yeah, I'm sure you all have, yeah.
I think if it doesn't feel like a natural extension of my world, I won't accept it. I think if something like Latafa reached out to me and wanted to do something, I would say no. But yeah, I think it just needs to feel like an extension rather than an addition. I feel like it needs to look, for me anyway, if the video looks like just my genuine content, but with an ad on it, that to me is what a genuine partnership is.
Someone that's done their research
Yeah.
on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anna, do you have anything to add on to that?
I'm literally just mirroring what Caleb's saying. I think some brands can ask for like weird deliverables, like stripping away your entire personality, and to me that's not authentic. And consumers, especially if people are watching your page for a really long time, they're going to be like, that's obviously an ad, I'm not buying that. So I do feel like there needs to be a compromise between brands and influencers themselves, to make sure that there's your personality being delivered in that video. So yeah, pretty much what it is.
What would you look for in a clear, good deliverable from a brand? What stands out as a good approach, something that, you know, works for you, but maybe from a more general point of view? What works in a good deliverable?
For me, it would sorry, I keep saying what Caleb said, but it literally is. If it's a video that I would do every single day, something that's not out of the blue or not too abstract from my usual content. I think that's just authentic in
Yeah,
itself.
absolutely. Jimmy, coming back to you, this is again quite an interesting one, and there's lots of conversations around this at the moment of who are the experts. You know, who holds more influence today? Is it the trained experts? As somebody that's got the badge on today as an official Fragrance Foundation UK trained expert, but also a relatable creator, where's the balance?
I feel like I keep sitting on the fence with a lot of the questions you're asking me. I think creators always win in terms of reach, and experts always win in terms of depth of knowledge. But the happy balance is definitely hybrid, so that's why I'm so happy to be wearing this, because I think that's essentially where most of us want to get to, because it's one thing to just talk about fragrance and say, oh, I like this, but then the true reward comes from being able to explain why you like it and why other people essentially might like it based on what they already know, what they're already accustomed to as well. So definitely, I think the initial approach in terms of creators will always reach the wider net of what you want to get to in terms of keeping that demographic and keeping those people on board. Definitely comes with the knowledge. So yeah, I'd say.
And I just off the back of that, where have you guys found your resource and education in fragrance? Obviously, PhD, having done course, but where else do you look to for insight? Is it a press release? Is it meeting with the brand? What do you value as that, you know, immediate resource?
I think obviously going out and networking and meeting with the brands, that's very important. So when I do my content, one of the most important things to me is going out, meeting brand owners and perfumers and people in the industry and hearing from them and hearing what they're working on, what they're doing, what works for them, what doesn't work for them. And the more you come to understand what goes into creating what they do, the more you can then communicate that to people that are watching you. So I think it's very important to, as a content creator, to go out and network and meet people. You know, one of the first things I did when I started about 2 years ago was I went to Harrods masterclasses, and I just booked up 5 of them straight, all one after the other, going there, meeting people and speaking to people behind the scenes and seeing what they're doing and then trying to communicate that with other people.
I love that. So are we valuing the press releases still? Are we valuing the notes? Is that where we find the storytelling? You know, is that, Jimmy?
I think definitely, yeah. I think in the world that we live in today, data is so important as well. So
Yeah.
while fragrances are fragrances and they're smoking and you know, again, it's subjective, the information that is behind them in terms of what the people are gravitating towards, whether it's the notes, the family profiles, I think we've kind of moved from everybody wanting that one signature scent to wanting to kind of build a fragrance wardrobe, and it's then understanding why do they want to do that and what notes and profiles are working equally in terms of the time frames and the weather, how's it transitioning the moods, all of those things. You start to kind of build a knowledge around what works when and for what people and why.
Yeah.
So, yeah, information
And everything's so planned and thought through from the brand that,
so, yeah.
you know, it must fit within, you know,
Exactly.
their brief and what they envision. So
Yeah.
it's got to be worth something, right? Anastasia, what do you wish this for PR teams and people that you work with, brands that you work with, what do you wish that they better understood about your role?
Well, I have 2 things to say. One is going to be pretty big. I wish they can learn more about personal tastes of content creators. I don't think that it's that hard, to be honest, because if you're just judging from, you know, our appearance or age, race, whatever, it's not always true. And fragrance is a very personal thing. And of course, if you have some new release, you sending it to everyone, but probably it's not the best way. I think for me, for example, if you're looking at me and my page, you will think, oh, she's like girl wearing pink, so probably she will enjoy our jasmine girly cute floral scent and she will sell it to people sort of, but no, because I'm more into like incense, deep woody scents, so actually I enjoy this type of fragrances more than floral ones. So I think if you can, you know, just ask a couple of questions before sending it, the fragrance, it would be really nice, and actually you guys will benefit from it. First of all, you get more, authentic review. The person, content creator, will sort of link to the.
I'm quite analytical, so I like to see what's working and what's not. So I advise content creators to check your insights. So you see what's resonating with your audience, what's not working, and then you get to tweak it a bit, and that way you can build your audience. And authenticity, like be true to yourself. If like we're talking about, if fragrance doesn't work for you, but still respecting the fact that it's someone's work, be genuine with how your approach with that is. Yeah.
Let's say the same for you then. What tools have helped you?
Definitely, I think I have to agree with the things that you said. Very important to check your insights, because like you guys were talking about short form content earlier, and if you go back and I check my insights, I see that most people actually watch the whole short form content. But when it's a 1 minute video or 3 minute video we're talking, not everyone watches all the way to the end. So now you think, am I wasting my time giving you more information and speaking longer?
Yeah.
Exactly. But I mean, for me personally, it's treating it as a business. So I've heard people say treat it like a job. Well, obviously, when it comes to a job, you do A, B, C, and you get paid X, Y, Z. But in a business, you can work for 3 to 5 years and still get negative and not making the money. But you still gotta keep pushing.
Right.
So I think treat it as a business, knowing that what you need to do is network, go out there, put yourself out there, and that gives me that drive to keep working and working. Because to be frank, to most people, when it comes to content creation, people are not really making money. A lot of people are not making money. So it's something that you've got to treat as, regardless of what the immediate gain is or isn't, I'm going to keep going and keep pushing. And the perfect example is about half of us in the panel today do not live in London. We live outside London. But we're in London every week, taking trains. I mean, I know someone here in Manchester and Exeter, someone in Birmingham, and getting into London every week to go to these events, to meet these people, the viewers, the brand owners, and get all the information. And sometimes it takes 10 hours of the day to go into London and get information, and you put it into 1 minute content. But got to understand that this is a business. Treat it like a business and keep going.
You've got to be present as well.
And network and push it and be out there and push yourself out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay then, more of a general industry focus. What trends are we seeing at the moment? What's happening? What's next? What do you think's coming up? Caleb, I'll start with you.
I think definitely lifestyle integration. I think it's not about how many fragrances we own anymore or what fragrance we own. I think it's definitely more of an interest on who we are as people and what our stories are. For me anyway, that's what I'm seeing in my insights. So yeah, more lifestyle integration for me.
I'm gonna jump in. The Fragrance Foundation had a panel talk, I think around like a month ago, and Anton said that consumers are becoming more educational savvy. So in skincare, like consumers want to know like what's the acid behind it that makes your skin look so nice. I think it's shifting, and we're seeing that change in perfumery. People are wanting more like innovative odorants inside their fragrances, so like captives. I think that will be a massive trend, because people want to smell unique.
Yeah, there was an olive oil smelling fragrance earlier. Using captives like that, it's really interesting. Yeah, absolutely.
I also think fragrance layering is a hot trend.
Yeah, queen of
Yeah.
fragrance layering here.
Thanks. I've observed that people are moving away from just buying a simple fragrance or trying to build. They have a fragrance order, but they want to make it more personable. They want to be express themselves more creative. So I think that's actually one of the main requests I get from social media. Please, what can I layer with this? What can I layer with this? So I think fragrance layering is hot, and it's still going to be hot in years to come.
I'm going to talk about different aspects here, and I'm going to talk more about the type of fragrances that's actually coming out in the industry. So for a long time now, it's been beast modes. It's been powerful fragrances that last in the skin for 24 hours. But now I'm seeing brands that are actually going, well, why don't we tone it down and work more on the actual fragrance and the scent? So now you're seeing people focusing more on notes, focusing more on, for example, tea fragrances, a massive thing at the moment, matcha and green tea. These are massive and coming out for more. And yeah, so I think people are moving away from that whole beast mode idea and moving into just being more creative and focusing on, you know, the perfumery and the actual notes they're working on. And just to add to that as well, I was at the Future Fragrance with you guys last month, and I remember someone did say something very interesting. She said, I'm afraid that we're teaching a generation that perfumery is smelling like cake. And that's because we've gone through this stage where everybody's been go one, and we've actually got to the point where people believe that vanilla is the sweetest note in the world. You know, but that's because everything you're seeing is sweet, heavy gold wine. So I think people are now focusing more on celebrating particular notes and scent profiles, and I think that's going to keep going on as we move forward in the industry.
Yeah, really interesting. Anastasia.
Yeah, in terms of content, I agree with the guys. It's more of a lifestyle. I think that for us here, perfume is becoming lifestyle, sort of. So it's not only about fragrances now, but also what we are doing with fragrances. I don't know, some funny videos, dancing with fragrances, attending really cool events. So it's not just about the juice in a bottle anymore. It's about everything around it, about people, about I don't know, clothes, makeup as well. So it's the whole ecosystem already, sort of. And in terms of industry trends, I think that technology is really helping us to get into different directions. I've been to Paris Perfume Week and I really enjoyed DSM Firmenich talks about new molecules they invented, new scents. So we're gonna have more and more interesting, unusual notes soon, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Amazing. Jimmy.
God, it's kind of hard to add to what a lot of people say. I think to touch on some of the aspects in terms of the notes, I think people also wanted to actually understand what those notes actually smell like in terms of raw materials as well. And that seems to be a thing lately in terms of, okay, what does actual oud smell like, and what are different types of ouds, what are white florals and families and all that kind of
And
aspects.
that leads on to the consumer being educated
Exactly
and
that,
what
yeah.
to know.
And I think the next side of things as well that we're seeing in terms of the social growth is more of a democratization of niche in terms of brands that weren't initially accessible to people are now being pushed into the market a lot more. So it's discovering new brands, new scents that we wouldn't have otherwise known a couple of years ago, and that's just been done through the power of social media.
Yeah, and I think that's what digital power kind of allows is that accessibility, right, of discovery and being able to explore things.